Now that we have our vegetables cut up, we have our green peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, whatever kind of peppers. Very good in vitamin C, remember? And our yellow squash, cut up in half, depending on how big the squash is, and our zucchini, about maybe half of an inch slice. Then we have our onions. I usually slice them in pretty thick slices, then cut them in quarters. And red onions. I have a half of a red onion and one whole onion. And then garlic. Lots of garlic. Good for cholesterol. I use one of these whole garlics for this mix. And then I have my mushrooms right there ready to go. My olive oil, which I'm going to use for cooking. And then I have some sea salt, which I bought. You can get this at Whole Foods, or sometimes they have it at the regular grocery store. Sea salt. The salt does not supply iodine, a necessary nutrient. Don't worry about that. A lot healthier than regular salt. I use the fine grind. And just regular black pepper, and my mushrooms, and my saute pan. Now, you might have to saute your vegetables in 2 or 3 different settings here. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat the pan, medium heat till it gets a little warm. Then we're going to put the olive oil in. So how much olive oil are we going to put in? Maybe about 3 or 4 tablespoons. I'll go ahead and do that and show you in a minute. Put the olive oil in the pan, and it's going to get a little warm. And as it's cooking, what you might want to do is you might want to take a little bit of the garlic, throw that in there, and let that heat. Now you don't want it to burn and you don't want it to get brown because it'll taste bitter. So we're going to stir that around in just a minute. We're going to also put the onions in there. Just break these apart. Red onions, yellow onions. Tasty. Since we're going to have to cook the vegetables because we have so many in sections, you could save some of the onions to cook with the other vegetables, just for flavor. Mix these babies up. And then we'll throw the green peppers in there in a few minutes when the onions start to saute. And we'll be back. Okay, so our oil is heating up here. We're just going to stir our onions and our garlic until they get a little bit warmer. Medium-high heat is always good. So we'll wait for our onions to get a little bit softer, and then we're going to put in our green peppers. Okay, so I put in the green and yellow and red peppers and orange peppers, and now I'm going to season it a little bit with the sea salt. Not too much. There we go. Sea salt. And some regular black pepper. And I found these great spices from the Spice House. This one is Lakeshore Drive seasoning. Awesome with vegetables. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that on there. And I'm going to mix it up with a wooden spoon and let these vegetables cook. So all of these vegetables, the onions and the green peppers, the garlic, are going to about take the same amount of time to cook. You want to pick vegetables that are going to take the same amount of time in one sitting here, because otherwise your vegetables are going to get too soggy. They should be a little crisp. That's how you know that they're done. So the only way to find that out is to taste them. So we're going to wait for these to cook a little bit. There's enough oil for all of them, you'll see. Make sure that they're coated in the olive oil. And we're going to go ahead and continue to cook these until they're done. Okay, so we can hear our peppers and onions sizzling. And again, you don't want to overcook these. You want them a little bit crispy. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cook my second batch of vegetables. it's probably going to be mushrooms and onions. And I'm just going to use a slotted spoon to take everything out of here and put it in this big glass bowl that I have. So I'm going to do that now. The nice thing about cooking green peppers and onions is that they have a high water content, so you can use the juice that's left in the pan for your second batch. Always want to make sure that you have juice to cook in so you don't have to use a lot more oil, which is good. So we're going to take these babies out, put them in the bowl. And we still have all the spices in the pan. And still quite a bit of oil. And again, I usually save the onions to cook with my batches of vegetables because they do add a lot of flavor to the vegetables. The onions do. So we're going to probably just add a little bit more vegetable oil. Maybe 2 teaspoons or tablespoons, and throw in some more garlic. I like to add garlic to every batch of vegetables that I make because it does add a lot of flavor. Throw in some more onions. Remember, the pan's hotter, so the second batch is going to cook a lot faster. You can actually hear it sizzle. I'm going to throw in these pre-washed mushrooms. Now it looks like a lot of vegetables, but you're going to eat about 2 cups of vegetables a day. And I'm sure your family is going to have the vegetables as a side dish. And they do shrink quite a bit, so you can be surprised how quickly you can go through all of these vegetables. I might as well add the whole thing. Okay, so if it starts to get a little dry, you might want to add a little bit more oil, but for now I'm going to season it with pepper and sea salt. Not too much. And my awesome Lakeshore dry seasoning. And mix it up with a wooden spoon. Always add a little bit more water if your vegetables start getting dry too, rather than the oil. Okay, next batch of vegetables coming soon. Mushrooms don't take very long to cook either. And when the onions start getting a little soft, we're going to add some moisture for the mushrooms too.